Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas, on Saturday, December the 7th, and welcome to our commentary. Well, of course, December the 7th is one of those days that I guess will forever be talked about as long as we talk about American history. It was on this day Pearl Harbor was hit. It was actually, I think it was early in the morning in Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, and it was like midday in Washington, D.C. But it's basically the day that the Japanese attacked the United States, and it was on that day that the United States entered the war. President Roosevelt went to Congress, got a declaration of war against Japan, and then from there, we found ourselves involved in another war in Europe. And well, we call it World War II now, years later. And that war went on for another 4.5 years. It ended in September. Well, the European War ended in May of 1945. The Japanese War officially ended in early September 1945. So had a huge impact, of course, in the United States, that conflict. And it pretty much, let's just say it framed our foreign policy from there on. Every president that we had, from Eisenhower to, I believe, the first Bush, every one of those presidents had served in World War II. I take it back, maybe not Jimmy Carter. I think he served in Korea. But nevertheless, all these other presidents had been, their view of the world, their view of life had been shaped by World War II. And many of our foreign policy agreements, and like NATO, for example, are a consequence of World War II. So it had a huge impact in the country, a huge impact in generations. And today we celebrate anniversary number 83, which means that you'll be very lucky if you have any veterans of D-Day to attend the ceremony today. There may be a few, but if you were 20 years old on D-Day 83 years ago, you're now a man 103, 104. So that kind of tells you how far, how long ago it was. But it is an important day that we remember, and we should remember. We should remember. In many ways, the way the country reacted to Pearl Harbor, the way the country put together an army and a military response was quite incredible, because I don't believe the country was militarily ready. In fact, that was kind of the concern that many people had back there, that we were not going to be able to survive, but we did. We fought back, and many millions of Americans served in the war overseas in uniform, and of course back here doing many other things. So we remember today, December 7th, 1941. And we will always do that, I suppose, as long as American history is taught and remembered in our schools. So December 7th, 1941, we always remember that day as a great day for the world. Well, as you probably know, President Trump is in France, and he's in France right now. And it's really, I mean, he's there, of course, for the inauguration or the reopening of this incredible cathedral, Notre Dame Cathedral, that went up in smoke a couple of years ago. I happened to be watching TV when that story broke. I guess it was in 2019. It was at lunchtime or so. I was watching the news when that story broke, and I said to myself, "Gosh, what a terrible thing it was." And here we are 5 years later or so. They've put it back together, and of course, many people are there for the celebration, and President-elect Trump is there. And I am amazed. We have never seen this before, where a president-elect has this kind of command, not only here in the United States, but around the world. The last time that I remember a president coming in and a very, very weak president going out was Reagan coming in and Carter going out. But of course, the situation, back then was not, I don't think, as drastic or as it is right now. But to see President-elect Trump meeting with the French president, I guess he met with the Ukrainian president as well, although I'm not 100% about that. But to see these people look at President Trump and almost accept him as the president of the United States. I mean, we obviously have a president. His name is Joe Biden. But I don't think a lot of people are taking Joe Biden very seriously anymore, or even consider him much of a leader anymore. And you got to be concerned about that, because he is still the president. He is the one with with the button on the nuclear button, or the finger on the nuclear button. So we cannot just write off President Biden. And one of the concerns that I have is that we may be tempted by some of our adversaries during this time, because we feel that, or they may feel that we have a very weak president. But let's hope that doesn't happen. But I can tell you, watching President Trump on some of those scenes from France is pretty incredible. You almost get the feeling that he is the president of the United States, and that's how the world is seeing him, to say the least. I've got a post over at the American Thinker today regarding the battle for the Texas House Speaker. We have a pretty nifty battle going on. The former Speaker, Dade Phelan, decided that he was not going to run again. Frankly, he didn't have the votes. And by the way, we have a pretty interesting conversation with George Rodriguez on the program that we did on Friday. It's available on the audio as well as the video. And he just doesn't have the votes, frankly, to be returned. So at the moment, it looks like a gentleman by the name of David Cook, who is a state representative in North Texas, not far from where I am. And it looks like he's going to be the next speaker. He seems to be the one at the moment that has the most support. But again, this thing could change a few more times. But it does look like Mr. Cook is likely to be the next speaker. He's very conservative, very much in tune with Governor Abbott on issues like vouchers. And we'll see how it goes. But it won't be Dade Phelan. He will not be returning as the Speaker of the House. It's probably going to be David Cook in the next session. And that's probably good news for Governor Abbott and for the Lieutenant Governor, because I think they're on the same page on much of the politics. I have a post coming out Sunday morning regarding sanctuary cities, and the fact that some mayors and governors, mayors of sanctuary cities and governors of sanctuary states, have expressed some concern about this policy of deportation, or going in and arresting people. And there's a very interesting story, a very interesting article by Professor Turley. I'm linking to that article in my Sunday post, where he's warning some of these Democrat mayors and governors. He's warning them that if they don't cooperate with the federal government in this project, that they could be arrested themselves for interfering with a federal operation. We haven't had that happen before, nor do I think it's going to happen now, because I think most of these people, I know they're doing a lot of talking, but I think when we get down to it, they're going to realize that they have to go along with the federal government. It is, after all, an immigration issue, but it's not just the federal government that they're going to have to go along with. I think what many of these mayors and many of these Democrats, governors and mayors, are going to realize is that there is a lot more support for ending these sanctuary cities and ending all of these practices than meets the eye. And I think a lot of them don't realize just how unpopular a lot of this lawlessness and the crime that has come with this kind of crazy immigration has brought. And I think a lot of them are underestimating just how popular I think these policies are going to be on the part of the Trump administration. As I've said many times, I think initially the Trump administration will concentrate on criminals and, these problem makers, people who have been, in essence, fighting the police and engaging in crime and all of that. And they're going to have, by the way, very strong support from a significant Democrat, and that is the mayor of New York City, who just came out and said, yes, I'll talk to them about this because I want to get rid of this problem too. He's got a huge problem in the city of New York with respect to many of these people. So I think you'll see the mayor of New York City cooperate, and I think you'll see others cooperate because it's in their advantage. It's in their political interest to clean up this problem. The others, that's where it's going to be a little bit more, not necessarily controversial, but it's going to take more time. Now, some people will probably get deported. If you already have a letter from a judge or the immigration department saying that you don't qualify for staying in the United States, if you already have a letter like that, then you're already supposed to be leaving the country. So those people are probably going to be contacted by ICE or immigration or whatever and told to, get out of the country as soon as possible. But I do think that the initial stage of this, which is arresting criminals and cleaning up some of the streets, I think that's going to be popular because I do believe the public wants it for the safety reasons, that anybody else would want to see this problem resolved. Let me leave you with another point, and that is all this talk about President Biden issuing these pardons. You've heard about Liz Cheney and former, I guess, senator to be from California, Schiff, and people like that. I think it would be a huge mistake for President Biden to do that. Now, he might still do it. He might still do it at the end of his presidency, as he's leaving town. But I think it would be a huge mistake politically. He's taken quite a hit. In public opinion because of this pardon for his son. Not necessarily the pardon, but the way it was done, going back, 10 years or whatever. He's taken quite a hit on that. And I think he would take an even bigger hit to his reputation if we were to do these pardons, for these people. I mean, these people have not even been charged, convicted, indicted for anything, and they're going to get pardons. I don't think that's the right way to do it. So I hope President Biden understands that and gets out of town without doing anything more than he's already done. Have a great day, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas. On Sunday, we're going to be talking about France and what's going on with the government in France. If you've been following the situation, their government has collapsed. They're going through a little bit of political upheaval. So our good friend Rosine is going to be joining us. She's, of course, a French native and very much in tune with what's going on in her country. So that'll be on Sunday evening. So we'll put that up for the audience as well. Have a great weekend, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas.